Fiora. Fiora Laurent is one of the most formidable warriors in the world of League of Legends, known as the greatest duelist of Demacia and the proud leader of House Laurent. Born as the youngest daughter of a noble Demacian family, Fiora was originally expected to serve as a political asset through marriage. However, even as a child, she resisted the traditional role imposed upon her. While other noble girls were given dolls and trained in etiquette, Fiora secretly devoted herself to mastering the sword. She forced her eldest brother to teach her rapier techniques in secret and practiced relentlessly, turning dress mannequins meant for tailoring into training dummies. Through discipline and relentless determination, she grew into a remarkably skilled swordswoman. When Fiora turned 18, her parents arranged a marriage between her and a member of the prestigious Crown Guard family to strengthen political ties. On the day of the wedding, however, Fiora shocked the entire court by declaring that she would rather die than marry someone against her will. Her refusal publicly humiliated her fiancé's family, and according to Demacian tradition, the dispute had to be settled through a duel to the death. Fiora accepted the challenge immediately. Desperate to protect her, her father, Sebastien Laurent, invoked his right to fight in her place. But when he attempted to cheat by poisoning his opponent before the duel, he was caught and arrested for violating Demacia's most fundamental code of honor. Facing the disgrace of her family and the execution of her father, Fiora made an extraordinary decision. Instead of allowing him to be hanged, she requested permission from the King Jarvan III to challenge her own father in a duel for leadership of House Laurent. The duel was swift and tragic. Both fighters were exceptional, but Fiora ultimately struck the fatal blow herself, tearfully bidding farewell as she reclaimed her family. After becoming the head of House Laurent, Fiora worked tirelessly to restore her family's reputation. She elevated many distant relatives to noble status, especially those who were masters of swordsmanship, transforming the Laurent name into a symbol of refined bladecraft. Yet Fiora remained fiercely protective of her honor. Any insult toward her family name was often answered with a duel, and over time she defeated and killed dozens of challengers in honorable combat. Yasuo, known as the Unforgiven, is one of the most iconic swordsmen in the world of League of Legends and a tragic figure in the lore of Ionia. His story is defined by extraordinary talent, painful mistakes, and a lifelong search for redemption. Yasuo was born in a quiet Ionian village. His father briefly entered his mother's life like an autumn wind before disappearing, leaving Yasuo to grow up without him. Despite this absence, Yasuo was not alone. He shared a close bond with his older half-brother Yone. While Yone was disciplined and patient, Yasuo was impulsive, arrogant, and often rebellious. However, Yasuo possessed remarkable natural talent with the sword, which eventually earned him a place in the village's prestigious sword school. His exceptional ability soon caught the attention of Elder Suma, the last master of the legendary wind technique. At first, Yasuo refused Suma's mentorship, but after Yone gave him a maple seed as a symbol of humility, Yasuo reconsidered and accepted the master's guidance. Under Suma's training, Yasuo became the only student of his generation capable of truly mastering the powerful wind technique, allowing him to channel the air itself through his blade. During the Noxian invasion of Ionia, Yasuo was ordered to remain at the school to guard his master while other students went to fight. Believing his skill could change the course of the battle, he abandoned his post and rushed to confront the enemy. When he finally returned, he discovered that Elder Suma had been killed by a technique involving the wind. Because Yasuo was the only known practitioner of this technique, he was immediately accused of murdering his own master. Forced to defend himself, Yasuo fought his way out of the school and became a fugitive across Ionia. Eventually, he was confronted by Yone, who believed the accusations. Bound by honor, the brothers dueled beneath the moonlight. Yasuo's mastery of the wind technique ultimately proved stronger, and he struck down his own brother, an act that haunted him forever. Despite being born with natural magical ability, Yasuo rarely practices traditional magic. Instead, he channels wind through his swordsmanship, creating powerful gusts, shields of air, and even devastating tornadoes in combat. Today, Yasuo wanders Runeterra as a solitary warrior, burdened by guilt yet determined to uncover the truth behind his master's death, and seek redemption for the blood on his blade.
May the spirit of Ionia guide you.
Riven. Riven is one of the most tragic and complex warriors in the world of League of Legends. Born in the coastal farming village of Travail in Noxus, Riven grew up as an orphan. Her father died as a soldier in battle, and her mother did not survive childbirth, leaving Riven to spend her childhood working on a farm. Despite the harsh life, she dreamed of something greater than tending fields. Inspired by Noxian warbands that often passed through her village, Riven eventually enlisted in the Noxian army and joined the Fury Company, pledging her loyalty to the Empire. Riven quickly proved herself to be a natural warrior. Years of farm labor had made her physically strong, allowing her to wield a massive longsword far heavier than most soldiers could manage. Her discipline and determination caught the attention of Boram Darkwill, the Emperor of Noxus at the time. As a reward, he granted her a powerful runic blade, rumored to have been enchanted by the mysterious sorceress LeBlanc. Riven's loyalty to Noxus was eventually tested during the Noxian invasion of Ionia. While escorting another warband through the embattled Navori province, her unit became caught in a devastating ambush. During the chaos, a wagon carrying experimental chemical weapons exploded, releasing deadly flames and toxic fumes that killed both Noxian soldiers and Ionian defenders alike. Protected only by the magic of her runeblade, Riven survived the disaster but was forced to watch her comrades and enemies suffer agonizing deaths. In that moment, she realized the horrifying truth about the war. It was not about honor or expansion, but annihilation. Disgusted and betrayed by the empire she once served, Riven abandoned Noxus and sought to destroy her runic blade, the last symbol of her past. Though the sword was shattered with the help of the Ionian Master Suma, peace never truly came to her. Wandering through Ionia in self-imposed exile, Riven eventually encountered Yasuo, Suma's former student, who had once been falsely accused of the master's death. Their confrontation forced both warriors to face the burdens of their pasts. Ultimately, Riven chose to accept responsibility for her actions and began working on Ionian farms as punishment and redemption. Later, she was captured and forced to fight in the Reckoner's arena run by Draven, before eventually joining the Sentinels of Light alongside Lucian, Senna, and Vayne during the Ruination. Tryndamere. Tryndamere is one of the most relentless warriors of the frozen lands of the Freljord in League of Legends. Born into a nameless barbarian tribe, he grew up in a harsh environment where survival depended on strength, endurance, and skill in battle. His people were renowned for their stamina and ferocity in combat, forging massive blades inspired by the tusks of their tribal god. Living among raiders, dangerous mountain beasts, and invading Noxian forces, Tryndamere learned to fight from a young age and eventually became one of the tribe's most formidable warriors. However, the defining moment of Tryndamere's life came on a dark winter night when a mysterious storm swept across the Freljord. From the storm emerged the darkened warrior Aatrox, a terrifying figure wielding immense power. Some members of the tribe mistakenly believed he was their boar god and bowed before him, but Aatrox mercilessly slaughtered them. Driven by grief and fury, Tryndamere attacked the Darken, only to be effortlessly defeated and left on the brink of death. As he lay bleeding in the snow, an overwhelming rage awakened within him, preventing him from dying and granting him a supernatural resilience that would define his future. After the massacre, Tryndamere gathered the few surviving members of his tribe and led them across the Freljord in search of safety. Their journey eventually brought them to the Avarosan tribe, followers of the legendary queen Avarosa. Determined to earn their respect, Tryndamere challenged many of their warriors to duels. His savage fighting style and unnatural ability to heal from deadly wounds quickly made others both fear and respect him. In one particularly intense duel, his fury nearly caused him to kill his opponent before the legendary Iceborn hero Braum intervened with his indestructible shield. In time, Tryndamere's people were accepted into the Avarosan tribe, and he entered a political marriage with their war mother, Ashe. What began as an alliance for survival slowly developed into genuine affection and partnership. Today, Tryndamere stands as a legendary barbarian king whose immense strength, unbreakable willpower, and undying rage have helped him overcome impossible odds. Though he fights alongside the Avarosans, the memory of Aatrox and the destruction of his tribe still burns within him. fueling the relentless fury that makes him one of the most feared warriors in the Freljord. Viego. Viego, also known as the Ruined King, once the young ruler of the ancient kingdom of Camavor. Viego's story is defined by obsession, love, and catastrophic consequences. Though born into royalty, he grew up largely neglected because he was the fourth son of the king. When his father died, Viego unexpectedly inherited the throne, despite being emotionally immature and unprepared to rule. His closest confidant was his niece, Callista, who served as both his trusted general and advisor. Viego's life changed when he fell deeply in love with a humble seamstress named Isolde. The two married quickly, and Viego became completely devoted to her, neglecting the duties of ruling his kingdom. His enemies soon took advantage of this weakness. An assassin attempted to kill the king with a poisoned blade, but the attack struck Isolde instead. Desperate to save her, Viego summoned the greatest healers in Camavor, yet none could cure the poison. Consumed by grief and obsession, he sent Callista across the seas to search for a miraculous cure. Callista eventually discovered the legendary waters of life on the Blessed Isles, said to possess the power to heal any illness. However, by the time she returned, Isolde had already died. Refusing to accept her death, Viego sailed to the Blessed Isles with his army. When the island's guardians refused to help him resurrect the queen, he ordered an attack on the sacred city. Guided by the manipulative warden Thresh, Viego reached the waters of life and placed Isolde's body within them. The ritual revived her, but only as a tormented spirit. In horror and confusion, she stabbed Viego with his own enchanted sword. The collision between the sword's magic and the waters unleashed a catastrophic explosion of dark energy known as the Ruination, transforming the Blessed Isles into the cursed Shadow Isles and creating the deadly Black Mist. Though destroyed, Viego did not truly die. Instead, he became an undead wraith fueled by endless sorrow and obsession. As the master of the Black Mist, he can possess living beings, summon spirits, and spread destruction across the world. For centuries, he searched Runeterra for fragments of Isolde's shattered soul, unleashing devastating harrowings and corrupting powerful champions along the way. Ultimately, Viego's tragic love and refusal to accept loss turned him from a flawed king into one of the greatest threats in Runeterra's history.
Viego, your black and broken heart has destroyed everything.
Love is not easily destroyed.
You turned our season of love into an eternity of bitterness and madness. All this death, all this domination. And for what?
She is mine.
This obsession.
Belongs to me.
I loved you until my final breath. Let me rest.
Yone. Yone is one of the most tragic and mysterious figures in the world of League of Legends. Once a disciplined swordsman of Ionia, he is now known as the Unforgotten, a warrior who walks between the material and spirit realms, hunting demons while seeking the truth about his own fate. In life, Yone was the older half-brother of Yasuo. Unlike Yasuo's impulsive and arrogant nature, Yone was calm, patient, and deeply devoted to honor. The two brothers trained together in a renowned Ionian sword school under the legendary Master Suma, learning the powerful wind technique. Yone's skill with dual blades earned him great respect among his peers, and he often acted as a guiding figure for his younger brother. Despite their differences, Yone cared deeply for Yasuo and hoped to teach him humility and responsibility. Everything changed during the Noxian invasion of Ionia. While Yasuo remained behind to protect their master, Yone left with other warriors to defend the land. When he returned, he found Elder Suma dead and Yasuo missing. Believing his brother had either abandoned his duty or committed betrayal, Yone felt personally responsible for failing to guide him properly. Determined to restore honor, he pursued Yasuo and eventually confronted him. The two brothers fought in a tragic duel, and despite Yone's mastery of the blade, Yasuo's superior wind technique ultimately defeated him. Yone died without ever learning the truth behind Suma's death. However, death was not the end of Yone's story. After dying, his spirit awakened in the spirit realm, where he was attacked by an Azakana, a minor demon that feeds on negative emotions. Yone managed to defeat the creature, but the battle transformed him. He returned to the physical world wearing the demon's mask and wielding its crimson blade. Bound to the Azakana's power, Yone gained supernatural abilities, including the power to sense spiritual energy and project his soul beyond his body. Now reborn as a warrior between worlds, Yone travels across Ionia hunting Azakana. Using both his human blade and the demon sword he claimed, he seals these spirits into masks by learning their true names. Through this relentless hunt, Yone hopes to understand the nature of the mask he wears, and ultimately discover what he has truly become. Master Yi. Master Yi, known as the Wuju Bladesman, is one of the most legendary swordsmen in Ionia, and one of the last living practitioners of the ancient Wuju fighting style. He is considered to be one of the greatest swordsmen in Ionia, possibly rivaled only by Yasuo and Yone. Yi was born in the peaceful village of Wuju in the Ionian province of Barl. His parents were skilled swordsmiths, and from a young age he developed a fascination with the blade. Watching warriors visit his parents' workshop inspired him to pursue swordsmanship. His childhood was balanced between combat and culture. He trained in sparring with his mother during the mornings and spent the evenings reciting poetry with his father. This upbringing shaped both his martial skill and his calm philosophical mindset. When he began training under the masters of the Wuju Order, Yi quickly surpassed expectations and earned the nickname Young Master Yi. The Wuju style is not simply swordsmanship, it is a martial discipline deeply connected to spiritual awareness and the spirit realm. Through meditation and intense training, practitioners learn to channel spiritual energy to enhance their physical abilities, allowing them to move with extraordinary speed and precision in battle. Because the Wuju masters believed their art was sacred and too dangerous to be used recklessly, they kept it hidden from the outside world for centuries. Everything changed when the Empire of Noxus invaded Ionia. Despite the Wuju tradition of secrecy, Yi chose to leave his village and defend his homeland. On the battlefield, he fought like a one-man army, defeating enemy soldiers with blinding speed and unmatched skill. However, the Noxian commanders soon realized that the Wuju warriors were a serious threat. While Yi was away fighting, they launched a devastating chemical attack on his home village, destroying it completely. When Yi returned, he discovered that nearly everyone he had known was gone, leaving him the sole surviving master of the Wuju tradition. Aatrox. In ancient times, Aatrox was a mortal champion who served the Shuriman Empire with honor and exceptional skill. Recognized for his loyalty and strength, he was chosen to undergo the sacred ritual of ascension, transforming him into a godlike warrior. As an ascended, Aatrox gained immense power and became one of the Empire's greatest defenders, fighting alongside other ascended to protect Shurima. During this era, he battled powerful enemies, including spirit gods and other supernatural threats, establishing himself as a legendary figure among the Empire's warriors. However, the fall of Shurima following the death of the Emperor Azir changed everything. Without leadership or purpose, the Ascended descended into madness and began fighting each other in devastating wars. Over time, these once glorious warriors became known as the Darkin, fallen beings consumed by violence and corruption. Aatrox emerged as one of the most powerful Darkin and even attempted to unite others such as Rast, Varus, and Naafiri in a campaign that threatened the entire world. The celestial powers of Mount Targon eventually intervened. Mortals were taught how to trap the Darkin within their own weapons. During a climactic battle against Pantheon, Aatrox was defeated and imprisoned within his massive greatsword, beginning an eternity of torment. Though trapped, Aatrox discovered he could possess mortals who wielded his blade. Using dark blood magic known as hemomancy, he reshapes their bodies into twisted forms, resembling his original ascended appearance. Yet every body eventually fails under the strain of his immense power, forcing him to find new hosts again and again. Over centuries, Aatrox's endless suffering drove him into nihilistic despair. Realizing he could never truly escape his prison, He came to believe that the only way to end his torment was to destroy everything, including himself. Now known as the World Ender, Aatrox travels across Runeterra bringing war and devastation, seeking a final cataclysm powerful enough to end all existence.